sales is a process. Yes, there is skills, but it is a process. There is a systematic, logical, step-by-step approach that you take in sales. We say every customer is different, but every customer has a same unique start and an end. Couple of steps may change from here and there. So whether it is selling a 10 rupees product or whether it is a 10 crore rupees residences, sales process still remains the same.
Hey everyone, this is Vamsi Bhogi. We are back with one more episode of Getting Real with Real Life. On this episode, we have one of my dearest friends who has been one of the masters in the sales game, selling worth $1 million worth properties and worked with Lodha, Hiranandani and also the Express Group, Mr. Stalin.
Hi Vamsi.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Stalin.
Pleasure's mine.
So when you dive into your career, it's kind of one of the diverse careers I've ever seen. You got into the Vodafone and then you took a decision of getting into real estate.
Right.
Which is again you have been a master in dealing with it. Can you just give me a brief of how your decision making capability evolved throughout the years?
Well, decisions have always been difficult. I was working for one of the topmost brand in the telecom sector. I joined them, it was Orange, then it turned into Hutch, then it was Vodafone, and Mumbai Telecom we were rocking. But put in 8.5 years,
Right.
while the BPOs and the retail segments were booming, a lot of my friends used to keep hopping, jumping and things like that. And they used to always look at me and ask me, "Oh, you still there? Oh, you still there?" Like that. So, some point of time, I got tired of telecom. I had options to join other competitors like a Airtel or a Tata or a Reliance or things like that. But working for the number one brand, you can't convince yourself that you have to go and work for a number two and a number three.
Exactly.
Right. So that aspect just stuck onto me. That you can't work for any number two brands. You need to work for number one brand. So I decided to switch on to an industry. I had options to get into media, I had options to get into real estate, and a couple of more options. And I was young at that time. Nobody to guide, nobody to look forward to. Somebody showed me extra money, I jumped over there, to be honest with you. And that's how I landed up to Lodha. But having said that, a question about decision making. There is this famous scholar, the statesman Mr. Chandragupta Chanakya. He always said 80-90% of people they always think, they don't take decision. And decision making ability is very crucial. Believe me when I tell you, Vamsi, that I have taken the most difficult decisions in life and never worried about whether it's going to be wrong or right. What was important is that I take a decision and I move forward. Well, I can't say that I am amongst the leagues of Ratan Tata sir, who takes decision and then ensures that things happen. I'm not amongst that. Every decision has been a calculative risk, but I've taken those risks. Got it. That's about decision making for me.
Again, when you consider the companies you work for in real estate segment, again they were the top-notch companies in India.
Right.
So again, switching from Lodha to Hiranandani, that was again should be a crucial decision for you.
True.
How was that particular thing? How did that particular thing work out for you?
I don't know if I can add, I come from a family background of business. So my family still today has a business of automobile spare parts where we are wholesalers of paint, wholesalers of tires, wholesalers of a lot of automotive parts. And we have this large business that we supply to government bodies in Bombay. We supply to BMC, police and Air India and other companies, government sectors. Having said that, I took a decision to leave my family business and start working. That's where the decision making ability started from.
That's one of the crucial decisions you should have ever taken.
Absolutely,
Right?
absolutely. That was very spontaneous. And believe me, that was the wrong decision of my life. Not that I've not been successful by taking that decision, but it's an impulsive decision. You could have worked with Lodha, you could have grown better, or things like that. So there is no scale whether that decision was right or this decision is wrong or right. When I evaluate, I say that I should have been more calm, composed, and taken my time. While I was working for Lodha, I worked for brands like the World Towers, which is an Armani product, New Cuff Parade. There again, a lot of dynamic products are there. There's a product of Mr. Philip Stark, Jade Jagger, fancy products. I've also worked for one of the biggest real estate launch in the history of India. That was Blue Moon. That was the code name Blue Moon, where eventually the Park project was launched and the Donald Trump Tower was launched. While working for Lodha, I came across one fancy product, very beautiful product. That was the Abuja Towers. And I was thinking that I am only selling dreams on paper with Lodha. Whatever I am showing dreams to people, it is going to be achieved over a period of couple of years. This magnificent project is ready to deliver. And they didn't have a right sales team. And I was in my pride that I can sell anything, and I plunged into it. And that's how a decision came across where I had to leave Lodha and move ahead. Similarly, a challenge was thrown up to me. He said, "Can you manage South?" And I said, "Yes, I'm the best sales guy. I can sell anything." And I landed up in Chennai. When I landed up in Chennai for Hiranandani, I was like shocked. 40 kilometers away from the city, and a product which is almost 40% more premium than any other product in and around. And we had to do a lot. We had to do a lot of strategies went into it, a lot of planning went into it, a lot of execution went into it. From team building to strategy building to brand building. Fortunately for me, the brand was already there. People knew what Hiranandani was. So I didn't have to reinvent the wheel in terms of brand. But in terms of sales processes and strategies for sales and the team and everything had to be done from scratch. And that's how the journey started. First it was Chennai, then Hyderabad got added, and then Bangalore got added. And that's how life moved ahead.
When you consider your entire journey, you moved from telecom to sales. How long did you take to get comfortable with the sales game? Because it's not the way, it's kind of mostly the no game where you come across. Rather than saying sales game, you can actually call it a stress game. So how did you get comfortable with this particular thing?
See, sales was passion. I joined Orange and Hutch and Vodafone. Half of my career in that organization went into service. So I was managing. I started being a telecalling agent. You have a problem with your cell phone, you call the call center. Right. I would have picked up the phone. It started there. From there, I grew up the ladder. I understood the entire gamut of customer service so well thoroughly. Got into operations, managed backbone of the call centers, processes, and a lot over there. Then a stage came of complacency. So I thought it's time to move ahead. That's where I moved into sales for Vodafone. Sold products worth 10 rupees to couple of lakhs and couple of crore rupees. That's the back end connectivity points and MPLS and data points and things like that. So I was already selling expensive products. My target audience were the CIOs and the CTOs and the decision makers of various companies who used to I regularly meet and sell telecom products. So eventually I had picked up the game of sales. When I had an option to come out of Vodafone, there was no second thought that do I want to go somewhere else. It was supposed to be sales. And hence when I picked up the offer with Lodha that I have to sell expensive residences, it didn't strike me. I mean, I was not scared of that. I took up sales. See, sales is a process. Yes, there is skills, but it is a process. There is a systematic, logical, step-by-step approach that you take in sales. We say every customer is different, but every customer has a same unique start and an end. Couple of steps may change from here to there. So whether it is selling a 10 rupees product or whether it is a 10 crore rupees residences, sales process still remains the same.
Can you get into the nitty-gritties of what are the kind of steps that are involved?
See, there are two types of sales. One, you're selling a product for somebody who needs it. Second is the type of sales where somebody already has the best of the things that they think that they have, and you are still selling him your product. Challenges are there at both levels because human nature is supposed to be a little difficult, a little different, and again, decision making ability comes in there.
Right.
Whether the other person is willing to accept what you're selling and willing to accept the transaction. Based on that decision making ability of the person, the transaction, the sales process goes further. And it is more like a chess game for a salesperson. He needs to be prepared at least 2 or 3 moves ahead of what's going to happen so that he plans his entire process accordingly.
So what do you do when the other person is not able to take a decision or he doesn't respond? Because that's the point of time that they usually don't answer us most of the time. When they are not able to take a decision, how do you usually get into that particular level? How do you deal with it?
It's critical. The reason behind is, see, you cannot, okay, now especially at this stage of mine, at this juncture, when I'm dealing with all the top notches of various industries,
Correct.
the leaders and the businessmen who have been successful
Right.
in their own means. So it's difficult for me to go and teach them or tell them or try to convince them that what I'm saying is right. It's difficult.
True.
So gone are the days where a salesperson could just go and sell anything and everything to anybody. Like there were fancy saying that you sell a comb to a guy who's bald. Gone are the days. So the sales guys have actually transformed from a salesperson to a consultant. In your entire sales process, you somehow get out of the hat of the salesperson and gain confidence with your customer that you are a consultant for him. You convince him that your objective is not to sell, but just to ensure that he takes the right decision at the right time. So when you're selling a product like Express, which is anyways world class, and I still say it is a little ahead of time for a Chennai product, it becomes easy because the customer also believes you and gets convinced faster that yes, it's an excellent product. The difficult game starts when you start discussing pricing, when you start negotiating for pricing. No matter how correct the price is, the customer still searches for a value proposition, that the money that he's paying, is it justifiable?
True.
And when you are in the luxury segment, price is never justifiable. So that's where the difficult task comes in. But again, to come back to your point on stress, see, if I may give you a quote of one philosopher, Mr. Sadhguru. He, in one of his interview, I had read that while he was in US, everybody used to come and ask him, "Sir, how do we manage stress? How do we manage stress? How do we manage stress?" And a very funny thing he mentioned, that you manage your family, you manage your business, you manage your career. So you manage things that is close to your heart. Why is stress so closer to you that you want to manage stress? Let it go free. I understand there is pressure at work. There are timelines which you need to achieve. There are targets that you need to achieve. You need to comply into policies. You need to comply into management requirements. Various things. With that pressure, and if you consider that as stress, and you start carrying your stress as a baggage and take it home to your family, or take it to your club while you're playing some game with your friends, you're going to have a difficult life. So you need to know how to disconnect and connect back again. try getting into things like you like. I mean, your passion. Read a book, watch a movie, go out with your family, rejuvenate yourself, come back next day. You will be better equipped to manage that particular situation. You'll be better equipped to drive your entire team to a direction which is towards success. That's my small answer towards your stress management. And I would appreciate everybody in their life follow this particular thing. Thanks to Mr. Sadhguru.
When it comes to the sales game, I have personally been into sales game for quite some time, and I do understand like you need to take a decision when it comes to dealing with difficult customers to understand whether they are worth dealing with or whether they are not worth dealing with anymore.
True.
How do you usually take that particular decision?
Vamsi, I've put in around 18, 19 years. Stages have crossed where I interact with the customer at the first stage. There were times where I used to be the front end. I used to be the first point of contact for the customer. What you're saying is right. Connecting with the customer and asking him the right questions, you understand whether this is your customer or not. But sometimes every human being is different. His approach is different. So you can't gauge or you can't judge whether he's the right customer or he's a wrong customer. He's asking the wrong questions. He's asking the right questions. And based on that, you decide how much time you want to spend with him. But yes, at the initial level, we used to understand that based on the right questions, I mean, again, this is training that we used to get at customer service, open-ended question, close-ended question. I have always evolved during my learnings of various journey.
Right.
So with the help of that customer service background, it helped me to be a better salesperson. Never oversell, never overcommit, never undercommit, and things like that. But yes, sales, these challenges are always there. Not necessarily that you are telling the wrong things, but there is a possibility that you are not telling the 100% thing. I don't want to term it as 100% truth, but sometimes you only say what you want to say. So based on that, you understand what kind of your customers are. I have also come across so many times, especially I'm talking about in the sales domain, where you feel, oh my God, this customer is like a god. He is not asking you any questions. He is not going to negotiate with you. Let me give him the best price. I'm sure he is like one saint. Whatever I give him, he will take. And at the 11th hour or the right nth moment of the transaction, he says, I'm not accepting this. I need more. And then you lose faith on that customer. That I thought you are God. I thought you are saint. I gave you everything. And now you're not trusting on me that I have nothing else to give. So like I said, sales is a process. And you eventually with your experience keep learning. So next time when actually your God comes and actually a saint comes, you don't open your cards. You still play the same sales game with that customer as well. Why? Because you came across some bad customer. I'm sorry, I wouldn't term him as bad customer. A difficult customer that he was good at what he wanted. Most of the time, such kind of transactions may not go through because that customer doesn't trust you. He feels that you have already given him so much, and the human mentality to get more says there is scope for more. Till the time you don't give me more, I will not transact. And you at your end knows that you have already given everything, you have nothing else to give. It becomes difficult on those lines.
So at the 11th hour, when things are not going, the stakes are high, what keeps running in your mind?
That's an interesting question. You get depressed, you get completely dejected because you were so much dependent on that client to achieve your target. You were so much dependent on that client to go for your next vacation or a trip or anything, maybe a movie. Everything goes for a toss. But then that is life of sales. Life of sales is completely dependent on the sales funnel. You have to create your funnel in a particular fashion that you have enough cases of pipeline. When one doesn't go through, others something has to go through. If I may add, again, this is a learning that I picked up through Vodafone while I was working for Vodafone. There was this one agency, his name was Global Direct, one of a fantastic sales focused, dedicated team. I have my difference of opinion at different stages. Like, for example, while I was in customer service, I used to hate this team. As I mentioned to you, in sales, not necessarily you will tell the 100% truth. This used to be one agency who used to give only half information but ensure to pull sales. And the customer service team used to handle that particular situation. But when I moved into the sales side, I understood the challenges that they go through, the dynamism that this particular agency has. And based on everything, the gamut of sales that they bring was phenomenal. Their strategies were completely wrapped. Nobody would know what goes on there. And I was curious. I've always been curious in my life. Can't take no for an answer. So I inquired. And I got to know that only the account manager who's managing that company and the CEO of the company knows what happens there. They are allowed to visit once to understand what the game is. I couldn't take no for an answer. I disguised myself as a salesperson and joined that company for one day. I picked up whatever the oldest clothes that I had, the torn shoes or whatever. I disguised myself as a normal salesperson and I went for an interview over there. I went for an interview. Within 2 minutes, I was caught. He's saying, "You're so qualified. I mean, you're so well dressed, well presented. Why do you want to come for a job like this?" And then impromptu, I took a cook up story. I said, "Hey, I've just come from Dubai, lost my job over there, and I have nothing to do in India or Bombay. Hence, I need a job." And I joined them. The first hour was so dynamic. I mean, the kind of training that they gave, they build your motivation level to the sky. I mean, maybe Himalaya or maybe whatever the peakest point is. They motivate you, they build you in so much of confidence, and they teach you that you have to meet 100 customers today. Only if you meet 100 customers, you will be able to get one sale. In case if you are successful to get a sale before meeting the 100 customer, that is pure luck. Keep trying. Try. Don't get dejected. You meet 100 customers, 10 people may say right on your face, "No, I'm not interested." 10 people may just look at you and ignore. 10 people may listen to you and ignore. In those, various steps of it. But till the time you don't give your 100% and keep continuously meeting customers, you will not achieve sales. And I was like charged up with the enthusiasm and the motivation. I went along with them in the team. We went to Bandra Kurla complex. We entered one building. It was supposed to be a government building. The confidence of this team, the security guard could not stop them. We entered into somebody's office with confidence as if we are the employees of that office. And 4 people started sitting in each table and said, "There is a special scheme for you, only for you. This is for your company employee. Take a product." We were that 1 hour of training that was given was that enthusiastic. We broke for lunch. We went to a small hotel to eat some grub. I had to keep my disguise on. Even though I had money, I couldn't share. I had to agree with them that, yeah, let's go to eat at this hotel and eat a dal chawal and cup types. Before we could step out of the hotel, the guy who was leading the team even sold one connection to the waiter. The waiter said, "I didn't have money. I don't have money." He said, "No worries. We'll come at 6 o'clock. You arrange money and came." That was the level of confidence and that was the level of motivation that sales team had. One day was enough for me. It transformed me, personally me as a salesperson. And that's something that I keep kind of training my team as well. Don't get dejected with success and failure. Keep on trying. You may be working on 10 cases, you may be you having sleepless night for these 10 cases, there is a possibility that none of these 10 cases will be successful. But believe me, with your hard work and because of the dedication of these 10 cases, something out of the blue, 2 cases will come and you will be successful with that. This, what I'm sharing with you, is personally my experience. It always happens with me. I get dejected that the sweat and the blood that I gave for my 10 cases, those were not successful. But also I'm happy that if I wouldn't have worked hard for those 10 cases, the 2 success that I've got, I wouldn't have got it. So that's become my life mantra. I keep on working. Not in the principle thought process that these 10 cases are not going to be successful. I'm sure one of that or 2 of that or maybe all 10 will also be successful. But I'm also sure something new is also coming my way. And there is a never stopping game that I keep playing.
I'll tell you something from my personal life.
Sure, please.
When I personally, for closing my first deal in Chennai, even before I got, when I personally started out in real estate game, I never knew anyone in Chennai. I didn't know the language. I didn't know anyone in the city. I really counted the number of conversations I did for closing my first deal when I was almost 17 or 16. It was 693 conversations.
Awesome.
It was 693 conversations, and I even, whenever one of my friends usually asked me something about some rare opportunity, maybe working with one of the IIM professors, I usually give them one advice saying, mail 300 professors or 400 professors. They'll be like, how can we do that? But that's the game.
True.
Unless we do, maybe some 3 or 4, maybe some 25 or someone will respond, and out of that, maybe 1 or 2 will be giving you the opportunity. Unless you don't go all in, you will not be getting anything.
Correct.
And I feel personally that our generation who are born in 90s and 2000s are a bit more of entitled that they'll get anything they want, and they give up a bit easily because they didn't go through the things that you went through or your generation went through.
Right. See, it was always the number game. So when I moved into sales, I started one of the team setup, which was leads conversion basically. So if effective lead conversion where the acquisition cost was the cheapest as compared to the telecom industry, and there also it was a number game. If you take 100 calls, I know exactly how many deals will come through. And that's how I used to motivate the team. In case if you're able to do better in terms of number, that is your personal skill, that you are able to shape them up better. You develop your personal skills as well, and the numbers will achieve better, which still continues. Your digital marketing works again on the same strategy. You are hitting in the dark, right? But then you know this much or this quantum of leads are supposed to get generated.
Correct.
When you define those quantum of lead, you will derive what percentage of sales will happen. And that's how I plan my ROI, and that's how I plan my budget as well.
Right.
The number game still continues.
Exactly.
I hope the generation of 90s and 2000 pick up that game fast.
Right. So you have been a person that who reads a lot. So can you tell me how has reading helped you evolve throughout the years?
Well, no, I just not that I read a lot. But yes, reading as a habit I picked up from my dad. If you believe me when I say, my dad left school when he was in 5th standard. He ran away from Kerala. He just boarded a train, reached Bombay. But he could speak fantastic English. He could write fantastic English. And that's only because of his reading habits. So he may not be able to solve a math problem or whatever, algebra, geometry, science and things like that, but he could speak in a commendable language even to foreigners. He could read newspapers, he could decipher, he could understand everything of it. And that's because of his reading novels and things like that. So the first book that he gave me to read was How to Win Friends and Influence People. Dale Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie. I read that book when I was somewhere in the 9th standard or 10th standard, something like that. I have read that book a couple of times at different stages of my life, and that book has always given me new things at every time that I read. Then, well, that's the book that I first read, apart from your things. Oh, I'm sorry, I used to read some Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew and those things, Archies and things as well. But my reading, where it continued, is from those books like Chanda Mama, and I have read every aspect of Chanakya Niti, what do you call Chandragupta Chanakya strategies. I've read those, and well, I'm more philosophical kind of a person. So my examples are more from the Bible or the Ramayana or the Mahabharata. Not that I've read the entire Bible, not that I have read Ramayana, not that I have read Mahabharata. Ramayana I've seen almost all the episodes because of B.R. Shah. I don't remember who made Mahabharata, so thanks to him that I know Mahabharata as well. It started from there. Your small learnings about how to deal with people, how to deal with situation, how to deal with wrong things, how to choose right over wrong, and be confident about it. Those are the things that picked up from these type of readings. Then, just to gauge my interest in reading, I used to read a lot of Jeffrey Archer, Dan Brown. I picked up reading from there. Now I just go through some management books, which eventually means the same thing in a different writing and things like that. But whenever I get distracted, I'm a little fidgetive person, I'm a little restless person, can't sit at one place and keep on reading. Whenever I get disinterested from reading, I pick up a fictional book. I pick up a science fiction or a murder mystery or things like that. And that gets me back to the reading habit. So once I complete that one book, I would again pick up a management book and try to read there. I got a lot of favorites of my book, but these days I don't pick up the hot selling books and things like that. The kind of friends that I have, like recently a friend of mine, he's a famous pulmonologist in Chennai. He gave me a book. Speakers are not born, they are made. Sam Jones, I think the writer is. I'm just recently reading that book. Another friend of mine, some Arun Nair, he wrote a book himself. Murderous Greed. Part 2 of that book has also come. So the kind of circle that I have, they've been recommending me to read certain books, or rather I just pick it up from them when they're done. So my presumption is that these are the who's of who of Chennai. These are the top-notch people. If they are spending their time reading those books, that book should be interesting and worth it.
Correct.
That's my way of reading. Not that I just pick up a random book and read.
So when you're actually surrounding yourself with the top-notch people, so your connections with the top-notch real estate developers and the people who come to buy them and you keep interacting. So what are the kind of things that you keep talking to them other than the project alone? There will be several other topics, as you said, books is one topic. So are there any few elements or principles that you picked up from them?
Yeah, life is always a journey and you keep on learning. So one more important reason where I started reading was because I was a little introvert kind of a person. Like if I meet you, I'll say hi Vamsi, hi bye Vamsi, and after that I don't know how to break ice and how to move forward. So I used to keep asking my bosses or people that I had to work with, how do you do it? One of my boss said it's very simple. In Bombay, 2 topics. Talk about traffic, talk about cricket. You'll break ice. But then I eventually, once I meet you, second time I meet you, third time I meet you, I can't be deliberating on the same topic again and again, right? So that's how I started reading. Of course, we used to read newspapers and keep ourselves updated, general knowledge and things like that. So an interesting thing that I picked up is, whoever I go to meet, I do a little bit of study on that person. What his topic is, what his subject is, what his interest is, if possible. And then you talk to that person on his interest, on his topic. Like, you are a digital marketing expert. If I can throw a couple of jargons on the digital marketing, you will think, hey, he knows something about it. Even though the truth may be that I don't know anything, I would have just grasped it or read it or just heard about it. But yes, that gives me a sail through to connect with you. And in the same fashion, while you keep reading various things, whether it is a newspaper, whether it is a book, or whether it is some mythological or philosophical or some fictional story, it keeps grasping, it keeps adding. At the right time it comes up, and you keep deliberating on it. Eventually, I can't say that I'm the most learned person or the most read person or a vivid reader or things like that. But at any topic, I can at least talk. I can deliberate on it, I can build on it, and I can talk. It's very important to be thorough about your subject knowledge or about the topic, because half knowledge is more dangerous. So you don't jump into it till the time you're not confident about it. So my reading is basically around that.
When you again dealing with so many people, again who's of Chennai, they are like diverse industrialists and they are like doctors.
Right.
How do you usually talk to them? How does the way you interact changes from each person?
It's about breaking the ice. If you break the ice well, you connect with them, and when you connect with them well, eventually, as I said, we are no longer salespeople; we are consultants.
Correct.
There is a very thin line, especially because we are in the real estate industry, and we are dealing with high-ticket products. So customers are not comfortable discussing their financial background or how the source and how they're going to pay and things like that. It's quite personal.
Correct.
So you connect with them or you build up with them in a different fashion. You dwell maybe on their interest, on their topic and things like that. And based on the relation that you build in the second time meeting, the third time meeting, and the way you connect with it, a little by little they open up. They need to, because they're buying a product of that type. So you can't lie to a doctor, you can't lie to a lawyer, you can't lie to a financial advisor or you who's managing your portfolio. In the same fashion, some interesting questions that we also ask, because of which they have to open up a little. And if you're not the right person, they will not open up to you. Then the entire sales process will not become a consultative process. And if you don't get to that stage, your ratio of success is not strong.
Correct.
The percentage that you want to target, that's when this is get closed,
Right.
you are not confident on that. So you build on that.
Right.
But yes, because my clients are diverse from various industries and various professions and topics and things like that, I keep myself updated on those lines. So whether I have a lawyer, I know what is the recent topic that is happening, and you will touch upon that. Politics is an interesting topic that everybody wants to deliberate on. When there is an industrialist, then you know what's happening in their industry, whether it is gold, whether it is shares, whether it is chemicals, which stock market is doing well, which stock market is doing bad. Based on that, various topics you discuss. If it is a doctor, then again, depending upon what's happening in those zones and things like that, you dwell on that.
And when you talk about the well-connected people, the one primary point is you're actually part of Rotary Club. And not just being a part of Rotary Club, being a person in your late 30s, you have actually become the president of Rotary Club. It's actually a huge achievement according to me, and it is actually quite something abnormal.
There are many young Rotarians, and maybe I am amongst the few
Right.
Rotary presidents who has age in their
Because it's extremely very, very not normal that someone actually gets into Rotary at such age,
right,
and become a president.
right.
So how did you make that happen?
So to be honest with you, I joined Rotary for networking. I thought See, Rotary is a place, and I respect Rotary for that. There are people who come with the objective to give back to the society, serve the needy. And usually, the people are who've achieved great in their life, they made enough money, and now is the time when they are giving back. They have time, they have money, and they have opportunity to serve the people. I didn't fit any of the bill. In sense, I didn't have time.
Right.
I've not made enough money, so I had nothing to give. Right. So I was not sure that whether I should join Rotary or not. But then yes, as being a salesperson, you need to keep meeting new people, and you need places where you network. With that intention, I joined Rotary. To be honest with you. But when I jumped into it, or when I plunged into it, I took up the role, I got carried away. In the sense, I was so touched with the kind of work that Rotary does. In the form that we Rotarians touch so many people's life, and we try to bring a change in their current situation, or in their life, in their current life. So my club had a vision and a mission that we would do all possible avenues of service, but we will focus on quality of education to the underprivileged. This was the mission and the vision of our club. We thought that if we are able to, teach a person, teach a child, and if he is able to earn two breads for himself and for his family, he and his entire family will never go the wrong way. He will not steal, he will not become a wrong person, nobody in his family will become a wrong person. And he will ensure that next generation in his family is also learn and teach, educate himself and things like that. So that was the mission and vision of our club. And yes, I said, oh yes, we will. Just went with the flow, and I took up a role of a director of youth services. I started spending my time in the RD Dravidam backward community schools and connecting with the people, the students over there. Doing small work in Rotary. I forgot about networking. I forgot about my work, business and things like that. Whenever it was possible for me to remove time from my daily schedule and things like that, I started contributing time. Like I said, for stress, you start contributing, or you start connecting yourself where you are enjoying, where you're rejuvenating, where you're able to touch your heart and mind to that. You keep doing that. And 3 years, I've been a Rotarian. And fortunately, this year I got an opportunity to become the president of my club. Amongst the few Rotarians who are this young and are presidents, but the vision and the mission is same, that you contribute your time and your objective to touch upon different people's life and bring a change in their world. Rotary has been instrumental in eradicating polio, almost eradicating polio from the world. But yes, in India we've completely eradicated. This year, or rather I can say now, Rotary is taken up the challenge of increasing the literacy rate for both, for the rural areas where the quality of education needs to be improved. Also focus on areas where there are huge dropouts. Dropouts is the reason, because of wrong things, maybe drugs, maybe stealing, or maybe wrong company and things like that. Improvise their surrounding, get focus onto them, give them the right vocational guidance, bring them back to school, give them the quality of education, and change their community and change their lifestyle as well. So we do a lot of things in and around it. So we build infrastructure for the schools. We have few teachers on our payroll, considering that particular school doesn't have the right teacher for the particular subject. So we have appointed teachers on our payroll. We do a lot of sanitization project. We are also working on a project which is a pet project from US, where Melissa Gates and Bill Gates Foundation is working on it. We have tried to bring that technology to India, and it is again a sanitization project where open defecation is a problem. So we are making toilets and providing to rural areas. I mean, look at the irony. This foundation is working on a technology for the urban lifestyle where there is shortage of water. We are focusing on the same technology at rural area where again there is shortage of water and open defecation is a problem. Okay. So that's my journey with Rotary. Rotary is another very interesting organization. Now I am saying organization is because you've got the same style. You've got leader, then you've got your avenue directors. Together you make a plan, you chalk out an entire year's plan, and then you execute it accordingly. You try to bring a difference. Very interesting thing with Rotary is that the leadership keeps changing every year. No organization has this model that the CEO keeps changing, or the MD keeps changing, or the leader keeps changing. Rotary builds in new leaders for themselves and calls them to take up the role, take up the challenge, and bring a change, so that there is no monotonism. There is, but yes, we work in conjunction, we work in synchronization, so that there is continuity of the projects and things like that. Rotary also takes care of building new leaders, which means we work at the grassroots level. We work at the schools, we work at the colleges, where we give them inspirational stories. From nowhere, somebody has become till there. And also bring a belief as well as a dream or an aspiration that one day we will have somebody from there who will become a president of the Rotary Club, who will then contribute back to the society. So that's how my Rotary journey is.
So listening to all these things, whom do you think of when you listen to the word successful?
Successful, well, it's a difficult question. My dad, like I gave you a small share of his part, his story, that a guy who ran away from school in 5th standard, and he came to Bombay, a place where many people achieve their dreams. He achieved his dream. Plus, then he brought me up in a particular fashion. He gave me all the possible platform that he could for me to dwell on it. So yes, there are many successful leaders. I mean, let me not quote names. I mean, there are leaders in the industry. There are leaders in the people who are running the government. There are leaders in every stage. There can be a leader in a college who is ensuring that he and his team is trying to bring change in the college. Everybody is successful at that stage, whether it is a short-term goal or a long-term goal. Like we learn in strategy that a short-term success is never a strategy. It always has to be long-term. So small successes is not the strategy. It is the long-term goal of success. I broadly don't have role models, but yes, keep on situation, keep on time, or keep on the journey that I'm going through. I try to be my own role model. I try to be my own success guru, which keeps on motivating me and guiding me to lead the way in a right manner. So aspect of success for me is, see, I'm a sales guy and I'm a strategy guy. So like I said, everybody has their own shares of success. What I look forward in people, or rather what I keep exploring to keep myself updated in the term for success, is the small strategical successes that each people get. So for example, Indra Nooyi, how there was a war between Pepsi and Coke.
Correct.
And she completely changed the game plan and she was successful. Blue ocean strategy, like today we are talking about cell phones, how cell phones killed the business of cameras. The market leader Nokia today is nowhere, or I can't say nowhere, but it's struggling.
Correct.
How small phones became big phone became small, and then again it is now becoming big. You know how Apple captured the market, and from Apple now again, Samsung is a step ahead in terms of fold. So I keep reading all these successful stories of brands, products, mergers and acquisitions, conflict managements, negotiation. Now, conflict managements can be with related to products and companies where mergers and acquisitions are happening, or it can be at the levels of countries as well, like the unrest that India and Pakistan is going. There needs a conflict management. We need
True.
somebody to anchor it.
Correct.
We both getting carried away in a different perspective, right? We need conflict management. So I keep reading books on those lines. So one of my favorite book is I'm not remembering. Kennedy's brother is written one book, 13 Days or something like that.
Okay.
It's a wonderful book on conflict management and negotiation. So like that, I keep reading different books or small stories about success. So yes, the success goes to the person who anchored that entire situation, or the brand manager, how he perceived the product to be different as compared to somebody else. All those. I mean, if any brand is doing better, or if any product is doing better, or any negotiation scale is doing better, or some companies on the larger level keeps acquiring or merging. So I keep trying to understand that why did this merger happen, or why did this acquisition happen? Why did Walmart purchase somebody in India like Flipkart? What's the background around it? Why did Amazon, or why did Flipkart not sell it to Amazon? All those kind of things.
I have one question over here. So when it comes to strategy of launching a huge project, maybe which is worth like all put together maybe 150 million dollar worth project, how do you plan the strategy for a launch? If you are, I mean, you have actually personally seen the biggest India's real estate project launch. What was the kind of insights you have gone from that?
See, it is a lot of research goes into it, and based on the research, there are a lot of probabilities, and based on the probabilities, that then the decision making, the data and the research helps us to take decisions appropriately. There are, calculations also into it, that if you do this is the kind of this percentage of success probability is there. If you take the alternate option, like you have plan A, plan B, plan C, and then you keep evaluating based on different types of ROIs or different percentage probabilities, and purely depends upon research. So you do all possible types of research, whether it is closed door discussion, or samplings, or customer orientation, or advices from people. Purely based on researches and strategies, we do a launch. Like, just to give an example, today we are selling 10 crores worth rupees properties, each individual units. We could have done commercial, we could have done a hospital, we could have done theatre, we could have done another mall. So there are probabilities of each. We have done a luxury mall, so we wanted to explore into residential. We have done commercial, so we wanted to do residential. We didn't want to do hospital, we wanted to do residential. I'm saying options. Now in residential also there are options. I could have done affordable segment. I mean, we could have done affordable segment. Hot cake. Affordable segment is the hot cake.
Hot cake.
Right. But then no, we didn't want to do mass segment. We wanted to do niche product. So all those things goes. Also, it is sometimes top down as well. Sometimes management says we have done enough of affordable segment. Let's only focus on niche market. I am aware that the sales will be a little slow as compared to the affordable segment. It has its own pro, it has its own con. But then you take calls on that.
Right.
When you sometimes take over a project and you completely change the strategy around it, so that the perception of the product completely changes. In that scenario, the entire game plan changes. That's what we've done with Express as well. We're coming with an Italian designer, branded residences. We're going to have a service department concept for limited inventories. So instead of having one product to sell, now we've got 3 different products to cater to. Like I said, strategy is never short term, it's always long term. And it is never about price cutting, it is about enhancing the price and enhancing the product.
Which area of your life have you suffered the most?
Suffered, I can't say that I have suffered. I mean, there are always some bargains in life. It's again, you get something, you lose something, all those kinds of things are there. But yes, if I have to just say, cultural shock is something that you keep getting, or rather, let me not term it as cultural shock. It's about your expectations. You are so comfortable in your current environment and you're so conducive to it that the moment you step out and the world is completely different, like we say, the grass is not green on the other side. So, how you adapt yourself quickly or you take time, those are the kind of suffering that people go through, because you build up your own expectations, and the more you build expectations, the more you are prone to get disappointed. Those are the kind of sufferings that we go through. Otherwise, it is always the bargains of life. You are getting something, so you're missing out on something. Sometimes it is short term, sometimes it is long term, but all of that is calculated. Sometimes you decide to go through a particular process or a suffering just to ensure to get a larger goal. Like students sit and study till late night, they get deprived of sleep for a better result. Those are the kind of sufferings that it is not that I have surpassed those stage of suffering. I continue to keep suffering on those types.
When it comes to belief system, I strongly believe that our belief systems are that something that actually navigate to where we are and where we are trying to go to.
Right.
So, what is that one belief that usually other people call insane of yours? What is that one belief of yours that other people call insane?
I am a very simple person. I don't have that insanity. I like to work every day. That's something. Now, but again, I said those are bargains of life. My family is not here, so I have nothing else to do on a work off, or rather things like that. I try to accumulate my work off and spend time with my family. So the days that I'm here, I consistently work every day. So many a times people have questioned me that you don't get tired. I said, you means what? Your brain or your body? If you sleep well, your body and your brain is fresh. You can work every day. Those are the way that life goes on. So it is not that there is nothing about me to get insane.
And last and final question.
Sure.
What are you obsessed with?
I am obsessed with, at this juncture of my life, I am obsessed with touching people's life. Touching people's life is not only my role related to Rotary, it is my role related to, or the job that I'm doing as well. I touch lives of everyone who's working along with me. In a way, I motivate my team, I direct them, I give them directions so that a larger objective is achieved for the company, for myself, as well as for themselves. I've been fortunate to work with few of the best of the bosses, and I have also been fortunate to work with few of the worst of the bosses. And because of that fortunate situation, today I have an opportunity to choose what kind of a boss I should be, or what kind of a leader I should be. So our leadership style keeps changing depending upon the situations and depending upon your emotions. Everything is controlled with your emotions. So that is the obsession that we keep on going through in your work-life balance. And because of the Rotary, I keep exploring opportunities where I can connect with people who are in need, whose lives can be touched. And with the help of my fantastic club and the team and the Rotary district that we have, we keep on finding avenues and opportunities and executing that. Not only Rotary, I am a Freemason as well. I'm a Masonic member. So with the Masonic member team as well, we keep exploring opportunities where we could do small charities, small value addition in people's life, and things like that.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Pleasure is mine, Vamsi. Thank you.
So hope you have actually picked up some of the most important things that with regards to dealing with stress, with regards to helping people, and a lot more things which can actually affect your life and take you to the next level. So make sure you're watching even more. Thank you.
Thank you.